ICT Spreadsheet Basics. We need to study now a function called VLookup, or generally called lookup. So lookup means it takes a value and searches for a match and brings more information about this value. So we do today several exercises about lookup, or specifically VLookup. I have two versions of the lookup function. I have the VLookup. I also have the HLookup. Let us now do the VLookup because this is the most popular and most common. What is V and H? V comes from vertical and H comes from horizontal. What is this about? This is about the table. This is about the table that contains the data. Let us look at this very simple example. This very simple example has a table. This table on the left is talking about some animals. Like, for example, GO is the code for goat. So this is the code. GO stands for goat. And the price, for example, is 500. DO comes from dog, and the price is 1,000. DU, duck, 100. CA, cat, 2,000, 500. So this is, I will call this later table array. This will be my table array. This way will be my data source. And doing VLookup, here I have to do VLookup. Why? Because the table is vertical. The table consists of several columns. And this is so common. Tables consist of columns. However, sometimes the table is horizontal. Then it will look strange. But once or twice, we had to deal with horizontal tables, and then we will use HLookup. Let us now only think of VLookup, because normally the table will be vertical table, and VLookup will be used most commonly. So this is my table of data, and it is vertical. It consists of 3 columns. If I do a search on GO and I get data from column number 2, it will be goat. If I get data from column number 3, it will be 500. That is the price. Okay. So now we know that this is the data source. Okay. Please highlight this. This is the exercise that we will be doing. Highlight this and click on the keyboard on delete, not backspace. Click on the keyboard on delete, so all data is erased, and let us start the exercise and do VLookup several times. We will do VLookup several times. Okay, so I will do VLookup in this column to search for the animal name in this table. I will do VLookup in the other column to search for the price in this table. Okay, let us start here with VLookup for the animal name. So put the pointer here. This cell is called G4. And you would like to insert a function. This button FX is used to insert functions. So click on it. And in that search area, delete that text and type VLookup. So the point is, you have to know all the functions you will be using by their names, because you start with doing a search. So you type here VLookup in that search for a function window and click on go. And then here you have VLookup, you have lookup, you have HLookup. but I'm now in need for VLookup. So this is VLookup, and click OK. Okay, let us study this window. I have 4 arguments. I have 4 arguments. One argument is called the lookup value. The other will be the table array, and one called column index number, and one called range lookup. Okay, let us go through them one by one and select appropriate data in them. And when we're done, okay, the lookup value is the value that you will be taking to search for a match. I will take my lookup value from this cell. I will take my lookup value from this cell. This cell is called F4. Okay, so I click on this. ماشي, here written cell F4, and the value in it is DU. Okay, perfect. And you have to know, in Excel, there is something called relative reference and absolute reference. What is meant by relative reference? Relative reference, when you replicate, probably we will replicate. When you replicate the function and drag it down, the cell F4 will change with me to F5, to F6, to F7, and so on. So I need F4 to be relative. Okay, by itself, it is relative. Just don't do anything, and it remains relative. The problem is when we need to lock it, when we need to fix it and have it absolute reference. Okay, for the moment, lookup value is now 5. Let us go to the table array. The table array is the table of data. This is my table of data. I highlight all of it except the titles, because I will never be searching in the title. So I highlight all of it. It is like from B4 to D7. So I highlight from B4 to D7. There is one point here. I need to lock those cells. I need to make them absolute. Okay, for the moment, I will not lock them. Then I will find an error. When I face the error, I'll tell you, look, this error, to avoid it, we have to lock it. Let us do it now with an error. Sometimes we learn by doing mistakes. No problem. But remember, there is something missing now. I am leaving something missing. Okay. Column index number. What is meant by column index number? It means from what column you would like to get your result. This is column number 1. This is column number 2, and this is column number 3. I would like to get my results from column number 2. Column number 2, that is the name. So I type here in column index number 2. Next, in the price, we will use column index number 3 to get the price. So column index number is indicating from where you would like to get the result. I would like to get the result from column number 2. Okay, column index number is 2. The last one is range lookup. For the moment, just take range lookup as false. Forever take it false. Why? Because when it is false, it makes no approximation. See in the help, false means exact match. Definitely, forever, I will need exact match. So just put false. And then click on OK. See, the function is working. Let us double click on it. When you double click on it, it opens and the code shows, and also cells appear colored. Yeah, very helpful. I would like to teach it with that colors. So it takes the lookup value DU and this cell, and searches in this range, that red range, it gets the result from column number 2, and false means exact match. You click, you enter. Yeah, this is duck. Okay, so now it is done, but not perfectly done. Next, I will fall in a problem. So right now, I will face a problem. Let us replicate this function. Go to that lower right corner until the pointer symbol changes to that plus. Click on it and drag it down. See, I am having errors. Why am I having errors? Let us investigate. Go to the first one and double click. Okay, the first one is working fine. Let us go to the one underneath. Look, this cell has moved. Okay, perfect. The problem is the table is also moving. I don't want the table to move. I should have locked it. I should have made it absolute. And this was the missing part. But you need to see it first working incorrectly in order to understand why. See? Okay, so let us delete this. Let us go to the first one and open it again. Let us go to the first one is okay, but it needs locking so that when you replicate, go to this one and open the function again. What is my mistake? I need to highlight that range of cells and make it absolute. Okay, highlight those cells. And on your keyboard, at the topmost row, you have buttons called F1, F2, F3, F4, whatsoever. I need the button F4. But there is a little problem. My keyboard is working fine, but maybe in your laptop computer, you have to do it in an alternative way. So I highlight on this and click on the button F4. See, my button is working perfectly. Maybe in your laptop computer, you have to press on the button Fn. So it is the alternative function of that button. That button works with two functions. So maybe you have to press and hold the Fn and then click on F4. And the only thing you need to make sure of is that now cells are full of dollar signs. So it is $B, $4, colon, $D, $7. And this is B4 to D7. But those dollar sign, they appear to me as pins. So dollar signs make cells absolute. So now they will not move when I replicate. So when I click on OK, and then now I replicate, see, I don't have any errors. I click on the first one. I double click on the second one. See, that range is not moving. Why? Because I have locked it. I made it absolute. Okay, double click. That dollar sign means absolute reference. And that one is relative reference. So the lookup value, this blue cell has to be relative so that it moves with me. It moves with me. That table has to be absolute. So I had to press on that F4. It has to be absolute. And in all Excel problems, probably you will be dealing with some relative reference and some absolute reference, because probably you will do a function and then replicate. Probably you will do this. Okay, let us do again. Let us do it again But now I will need to make column index number 3. Why? Because I am now looking for prices. Okay, very simple. Let us do it again. Put the pointer here and click on that button, FX. You don't have to do a search again. VLookup is here at the top. It is here in the most recently used. You don't have to search for it again. Just click on it and click OK. The lookup value is this cell. The table array is that range of cells with highlight F4 $signs absolute. Column index number 3, I'm looking for prices. Range lookup false, I'm looking for exact match. And OK, and replicate. See, we did VLookup twice. Okay, now I will start all over again. I will start all over again teaching some related ideas. There is one idea that is very closely related to VLookup. Let us do it now. Okay, so I'm starting all over again. Please open a blank Word file. Just a blank Word file. Don't save it, don't anything. Just open a blank Word file, because I will be taking a screenshot evidence of what I've done. So I need to paste it here and look at it I'll look at it after doing. Okay, so now I have an empty Word file. Okay, let us go to our exercise again. I'm starting from the beginning. Maybe you are asked to create a named range. What is that named range and how to do that named range and what are the benefits of doing a named range? Let us try it right now. But we will do now a named range. Let us say you are asked to create a named range for the cells G4 to D7. Let us say you are asked to create a named range for the cells B4 to D7. And you are asked to give them the name table and take a screenshot of this named range after doing it. Okay, okay. Let us highlight first. So highlight the required range. Look, the required range is exactly the table array. But for the moment, I didn't realize yet that there will be a VLookup. Actually, I don't know that. I've been just asked to create a named range. That is B4 to D7. Okay, let us highlight how to create a named range. After highlighting, right click, and here it is. Define name. So highlight and click on define name. Okay, and in here, write the required name, that is table. So, and please, before clicking OK, remember that I have been asked to create a screenshot evidence. I need a screenshot evidence of this. So, open the snipping tool here, SN, to open the snipping tool, and new, highlight that window, and go to the evidence file, just that empty Word file, and paste. And then here, click on OK. Okay, job done. Now you have created a named range. But what does this mean? And how does that change my answer if I have to do a VLookup afterwards. Let us have a look at this screenshot. So the name is table, and it refers to the cell B4, D7. Yes, this is exactly what I need. But there is something more. It is so full of dollar signs. And dollar signs mean absolute. Let us put a rule now. If cells are given a name, they will be absolute reference without pressing F4. Because I can see here, dollar signs are there. So table refers to those cells and they will be used as absolute. Can this help me? Yes, it can. Okay, let us do the VLookup again with the named range in place. Let us do the VLookup again with the named range in place. Click on that cell and click on FX. And again, VLookup. We do the same thing again. We would like to take column index number 2 to get the animal name and column index number 3 to get the animal price. So this is VLookup. The lookup value is this. The table array, go highlight the cells. Let us now see what happened. Table is written because these are the very same cells that I gave them the name table. Table array needs to be absolute. And cells given a name are by themselves absolute. So I don't have to press F4. Well, it helps. Well, it helps. Because that's why I would like to teach VLookup with named cells. Because sometimes they come together. Okay, now it is easier. Column index number 2 and range lookup false. And you know what false mean? It means exact match. And click OK, and then you replicate. You don't have to worry about locking the table array. It is already locked by creating a named range. Okay, that helped. Again, FX VLookup. The lookup value is this cell. See, you can type here table. Type table by the keyboard. It will work because table represents this data. It's the same. Column index number 3, range lookup false. Okay? And replicate. But my advice is never use a named range unless you have been asked for. Never use a named range to look up cell. Never use a named range to look up cell. If you have been asked to create a named range, use it. If not, then you are not allowed to use. Only one word to say, and I'm done with that introduction. In sometimes the table array will be in a separate file. It will not be a big problem. You will highlight them from the other table, the other file, and they will be absolute by $sign. Okay, that's enough as an introduction for the VLookup together with named range.